Hello everyone, today I'll be reviewing Jurassic Park. So Jurassic Park came out in 1993 and was directed by Steven Spielberg, and this film is based on a novel by Michael Crichton. So we have this character called John Hammond, who is a wealthy businessman and is played by Richard Attenborough. And he, and along with a group of scientists, create this wildlife park which has dinosaurs in it. And these dinosaurs have been brought back to life using cloning techniques by extracting DNA from the blood of mosquitoes, which have been preserved for millions of years. But before this wildlife park opens, John Hammond, he invites some visitors to the park to test it out and see what they think of it before the park can get the go-ahead to open. And these characters that we follow, we have a paleontologist who is played by Sam Neill and a paleobotanist who is played by Laura Dern. These really are the two main characters in the film who are looking around the park and seeing what it's like. And then we also have another character called Ian Malcolm, who is a mathematician and is played by Jeff Goldblum. And these characters, they are introduced to the park, and straight away, when they're at the park, we get this incredible scene where this Brachiosaurus appears before them, and the characters are absolutely amazed at what they're seeing, that there is a real-life gigantic dinosaur right in front of them. However, as things go on and they start to look around the park, they start to think that maybe things aren't quite right, and perhaps it's quite dangerous for this park to open. In particular, Jeff Goldblum's character, his character seems very cautious about the opening of the park, and he says that essentially it is not a good idea to bring creatures back to life for millions of years ago, as something is bound to go wrong. Later on, we also have a character called Dennis Nedry, who's played by Wayne Knight, and he's a character who has a bit of a subplot from the rest of the film, as his character actually works at the park. He's one of the computer programmers at the park, and he tries to smuggle some embryos out of the park in order to get them to somebody else in exchange for money. But when he does this, he has to shut down all the park's security systems in order to get access to the embryos. And by doing this, well, things start to go wrong, and here's where the story takes a real interesting turn. Obviously, as you can expect, the dinosaurs start to break free from their enclosures while lots of the other characters are still in the park on the tour, and yeah, things start to go wrong. So this is obviously a very iconic film, and it almost seems a bit pointless me having to explain the plot, but as you can expect, it's about dinosaurs and it's really good fun. And in fact, this film did extremely well at the box office. It actually became the highest grossing film of all time when it came out, and it wasn't overtaken until 1997 when Titanic came out. So it really was a very big deal and was a very, very popular film. And still to this day, it is still a very popular movie and has obviously spawned some sequels as well. But in my opinion, none of those sequels are anywhere near as good as this film. So in terms of the special effects, I think they actually still hold up very well today. Bear in mind this film is 28 years old now, but still, although some of the effects obviously do look a bit dated, I still think that, considering the age of the film, I think they still look absolutely excellent. So in terms of the CGI used, obviously this was groundbreaking for the time, and it really must have been incredible watching this in theatres for the first time in 1993. Seeing these dinosaurs, that must have been an amazing experience. And I actually think that the CGI still looks top-notch today, and in fact in some of the sequels which came years after this, the special effects in those films actually look worse than in this film for some reason, not sure why. However, what really does help this film is the use of the animatronics as well. So in lots of the close-up shots of the dinosaurs, whether it's with the T-Rex's face or the scene with the Triceratops, obviously animatronics are used, which actually really helps, because whereas with the CGI sometimes it can look like it's just been imposed on top of the screen, if you have an animatronic it really looks like it's actually really there, because obviously it is. So we also have some kids in this film as well called Lex and Tim, and they are the grandchildren of Richard Attenborough's character. And actually, for kids, their acting really isn't that bad. They are quite different characters as well, so they have a bit of a contrast between them, and they get on really well with Sam Neill's character. And interesting enough, right at the start, Sam Neill's character, he says that he doesn't like kids. But when he meets these kids, he obviously is in dangerous situations with them, with the dinosaurs running around, and he finds out that he has to bond with them and protect them in quite a few scenes, which obviously strengthens his relationship with them. So although this film is very popular and I love it very much, there are some people who have slight issues with it. So I've heard that some people think that the character development isn't particularly excellent in this film and that we don't really get to know the characters very well. I can sort of see that, but really, obviously, throughout this film the characters are constantly being chased by dinosaurs and they have to escape the danger. So I suppose there isn't really necessarily enough time to get to know all the characters really well. I mean, we get some scenes at the start where they're talking to each other. I think particularly Jeff Goldblum's character is probably the most interesting, but really I don't really think we really needed much more of that, because I think as an entertaining monster movie, I think it works really well. Some people have also said that there aren't enough moments of awe apart from that first sequence where we see the Brachiosaurus, and after that it turns into a monster movie. I can see that as well. Perhaps it could have done with a few more moments of awe, because as soon as we're introduced to the Brachiosaurus, it's almost as if they expect the audience to just get used to the dinosaurs already. When it would have been nice to have a few more sort of wow scenes. Although I do think in the sequence where the T-Rex is introduced when he breaks through the fence, that is a really impressive scene and does look absolutely excellent. I also absolutely have to talk about the music to this film, which was composed by the great John Williams, which is absolutely incredible. Whether it's the theme when they're in the helicopter entering the park and you get the real uplifting music, and then obviously the music when the Brachiosaurus first appears on the screen. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful, and it's probably one of my favourite pieces of music from any film, to be honest. Obviously John Williams being one of, if not the greatest film composer of all time. So overall, I really like Jurassic Park. I think it's such an entertaining film, and it's one I've watched loads and loads of times, and one that I never really get bored of, if I'm honest. It is very entertaining film, fantastic special effects, brilliant music, although obviously slightly scary in some places, but really I think it is an excellent film that everybody should be able to enjoy. So if you haven't seen it before, I highly recommend Jurassic Park. So I'm going to give it a rating of 10 out of 10. Possibly one of my favourite films of all time, to be honest, although I do say that quite a lot as there are so many films I do like. I'm always happy to go back and watch this one again. So there we go. So that is my review of Jurassic Park. So what do you guys think? Have you seen Jurassic Park? Do you like it? Do you dislike it? Please let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below. Anyway, thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.